Today, we're going to dive into a really beautiful and honestly tragic story from 20th century Japan called Twilight of a Crane. It's one of those tales that just feels timeless, Like it's as old as the snow-covered mountains where it's set. It's a powerful look at what happens when something pure, like love, comes crashing into something as ugly as human greed.
Right from the start, there's this haunting children's song woven throughout the story. It translates to something like, "Here we go walking around a bird in the cage." And on the surface, yeah, it sounds like a kid's game, but it's this brilliant, chilling bit of foreshadowing for the whole story. This idea of a beautiful creature, trapped, and in the end, betrayed.
All right, so let's set the scene. Picture this, a remote, totally isolated hut way out in the snowy countryside. This is where we meet our main character, a simple guy named Yo-Yo. Maybe a little foolish, but his heart's in the right place. And he is living in pure happiness with his wife, Tsu. Now, she's a bit of a mystery, kinda appeared out of nowhere, but their love is just this pure, uncomplicated thing. Well, at least that's how it all begins.
So let's get into this first part and really see what their simple life together looked like before the rest of the world decided to show up. This scene just sums them up perfectly. Yo-Yo, he's basically a big kid. He's totally carefree, just wants to play games like Run Sheep Run with the local children. He's begging Tsu, "Let's play together." But Tsu, even though she adores him, she's always the practical one, focused on taking care of him. Her reply is always something like, "But I have to get supper ready." Their whole world is this tiny, innocent little bubble, completely centered on each other.
But inside this perfect little life, there's a secret that, once it gets out, is going to unravel everything. This is where we learn about the Weaver.
And this is where the outside world comes crashing in. It shows up in the form of two men, Soto, who's a sharp, scheming guy, and Unzu, a local dealer. Their motivation? It's one thing and one thing only: profit. They've heard these whispers that Yo-Yo, a guy who does nothing all day, has suddenly got money. And they find out it's all coming from this incredible cloth that his wife, Tsu, weaves.
Now, this cloth, it's a huge deal in the story, as you can see here. It's called Sinba Ori, and it's this legendary fabric so priceless that people say you'd have to go to heaven to even find it. And the legend says it's made from 1,000 feathers plucked from a live crane. So yeah, the value is insane, but think about the sacrifice that implies. It's just immense.
And this, right here, is a crucial point. There is one sacred rule between Tsu and Yo-Yo, one promise he absolutely has to keep. Whenever she goes into the weaving room, he is forbidden, absolutely forbidden, to look inside. This pact is the very foundation of their trust, and as we're about to see, it's the one line that can never, ever be crossed.
Okay, let's move on and see how this all starts to build, as those whispers from the outside world begin to poison the pure little life that Yo-Yo and Tsu have built.
I mean, just look at this slide. It perfectly contrasts the two forces battling it out here. On one side, you've got Tsu's world. It's all about love and peace, their simple little hut, children's songs, the innocence of nature. And on the other side, Soto's world. The big city, Kyoto, a place that runs on money, deception, and pure human greed. It's not just a clash of people, it's a clash of two completely different ways of being.
And the villain's plan? Oh, it's just brutally simple and so manipulative. Soto doesn't see Yo-Yo as a person, he sees him as a tool. Their goal is to turn Yo-Yo against his own wife, to convince this simple man to exploit her mysterious gift for their own payday.
And the tragic part is, it starts to work. Soto and Unzu, they plant this little seed of desire in Yo-Yo's simple mind. They start talking about hundreds of dollars, about all the amazing things in the great city of Kyoto. And all this talk of money and fancy things, it starts to cloud his simple, pure love for Tsu. That innocence starts to curdle into ambition.
And Tsu, she sees this change with heartbreaking clarity. She tells him, "You are moving to the other world where I can never live." For her, the language of greed is like a foreign tongue. She literally can't understand it. She's watching the man she loves become a complete stranger right in front of her.
This brings us right to the story's climax. The pressure is on, and Yo-Yo's very soul is being tested. This section is all about the terrible, terrible price of breaking a sacred promise.
You can literally watch Yo-Yo's fall in 3 tragic steps. At first, he pushes back, He declares, "I love Tsu, she is my darling." Then, he starts to waver. He notices the toll it's taking on her, she loses weight, but he's still tempted by the money. And finally, just consumed by greed, he gives her this cruel ultimatum, threatening to leave her if she doesn't weave. His transformation from loving husband to a greedy master is complete.
So, in one last, desperate act of love, Tsu agrees. She'll weave one last time, sacrificing whatever she has left of herself, just to keep the man she loves from walking away. But she makes him swear one final time, pleading with him, "Never, never, never look at me." The stakes have literally never been higher.
But of course, Soto and Unzu have zero honor. They sneak over and take a peek into the weaving room. What they see completely shocks them, and they run right to Yohyo to tell him. And now, his curiosity, which they've just fanned into a flame, it becomes unbearable. He forgets his sacred vow. He walks to the door. So what do you think he sees behind it?
The secret is revealed. It isn't Tsu in her human form. It is a crane. A single wounded crane, literally plucking its own feathers and weaving them into the loom with its beak. Yohyo has broken his promise, and he's just witnessed the impossible.
And now, the tragic fallout. The twilight isn't just descending on the day, it's descending on their love, on their entire life together. This is the consequence, the beginning of the end. When she finally emerges from the room, she's terribly thin and weak, and her heartbreak is just absolute. With this quiet, devastating finality, she asks him, "Why did you look in at me?" Because her true form has been seen by the man she loves, the spell is broken. She can no longer stay human.
And this is where we finally get the whole story. Tsu reveals that she was the very crane that Yohyo once found, wounded with an arrow in its back and saved out of simple kindness. She became his wife to repay that kindness with love. That priceless cloth, it wasn't magic, it was sacrifice. It was woven from her own body, from her own feathers, a constant painful giving of herself. And now, she's given almost everything. She has just enough feathers left to fly away.
The ending is just devastating. Tsu transforms back into a crane and flies away into the twilight sky, leaving just a single sorrowful cry behind her. In a moment of painful irony, the local children show up asking for their friend Tsu to come out and play, a brutal reminder of the simple joy that's now gone forever. And Soto and Unzu, they're completely indifferent to the tragedy. They're just focused on the priceless cloth they've got their hands on. And Yohyo, he's left utterly alone, clutching the very symbol of his greed and betrayal, just staring at an empty sky. He's lost everything that ever truly mattered.
And the story leaves us with this really powerful, lingering question. Yohyo got the money, right? He got his precious cloth. But he sold his love, his happiness, his own soul to get it. It's this timeless warning that greed doesn't just take things from you, it empties you out. It leaves this giant void where joy used to be. So we're left to wonder, what really remains when love is sold for profit?